Hey Floss Tube, welcome back. This is my 85th Floss Tube video, and I'm excited to share with you what I've been working on. First of all, I want to welcome you. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I hope that you enjoy the things that I have to share with you, and I would hope that you would subscribe to my channel. If you are returning, thank you for coming back and watching my videos. I really appreciate it. Thank you for all of your comments. And thanks for all of your kind words last time I filmed. It was a couple of weeks ago with regards to the finish that I had and also Easter. We had as I mentioned, we had a really nice Easter. We were together as a family. Things are going pretty well here, as well as can be expected. Things are starting to warm up here in Arizona. We are supposed to hit the hundreds this week, so summer has started, and I don't know that I'm quite ready for it, but I guess it's about time. So this is about the time that the air conditioning starts running, and we start to stay in our houses a little bit more. Yeah, so it's starting to get hot. It is Saturday evening. I usually film in the mornings, but I had a lot to do. I'll talk a little bit about what I did today a little bit later on. But one of the things we had to do is I've had my office for work set up in my son's room. He is coming home this week. His classes end this week, and he has decided to come home. So I had to move my office so that he would have a room to come back to. So that took quite a bit of time and energy this morning. And I've also got some things to show you that I did. So anyway, before we talk about that, I thought that I would answer a couple of questions and comments that were made in since my last video. So let's get started. The first person, Linda, asked me about my PVC lap stand. And she asked me if I'd ever thought about converting it to a floor stand. And I have. I'm going to go get it so that I can talk about it a little bit better. So just a second. Okay, so this is my stand. I've shown it several times. This sits on my table. And I have also set it up. I also have legs that I can use to if I want to sit in my couch, I have longer legs that I can use to kind of use it as a floor stand. And as I said, Linda wanted to know if I'd ever thought about what to do to use it for a floor stand so that it sat on the floor and I could stitch with it. I have thought about it, but I've never done anything about it. So this is made with 1/2-inch PVC pipe. And I think that if I were to make this into something like a floor stand, what I would do, the first thing, I think that I would use a larger diameter pipe. I would probably use 3/4 inch pipe for the legs. So of course that would mean that you would have to get elbows that went from 1/2 to 3/4. They make those, I believe. And then the reason why I say that is that would give me, I think that would give it a little bit of stability, because you would have to have longer legs. Or another thing that I've thought of is possibly, instead of coming off on an elbow here, replacing this elbow with a T and doing something that did 2 legs on each side. So come off with a T and then 2 elbows on each side to go down to whatever length legs you want to do. I think that I guess it depends on if you're sitting on a couch. I'm not sure that this would work for a floor stand because you'd have to figure out how to on one side, you could have one side go along the side of your couch, but on the other side, your couch would get in the way, and I think you would have to figure out how to move the stand closer to you while you were stitching. If you're in a chair, I think you would just have to make it wide enough so that it'd go on either side of the chairs, on either side of the chair. But yeah, so that's what I would either use a larger diameter pipe for the legs to go down, and then I wouldn't put feet on the ends. I would make it come out straight, and instead of having elbows like this, I think I would put a cap on each end for it to sit on the floor. Or like I said, either that or else tee off so that you had two legs on each side to go down to the floor. So I think it would be easy to do. You could certainly try it. You would just have to play around with your dimensions. I mean, you'd have to know how tall you would want it for you. I don't think that you could have a fixed size that would work for everybody. And in fact, I've actually considered this. One of the things that they sell in the hardware store is a PVC extension that is adjustable. It's meant to make it easy when you are repairing sprinkler pipe. It's meant to make it easy. You can hook onto the pipe without having to worry about cutting an exact size. Basically, you hook one end in and then the other end slides out to hook onto the other side of the pipe. I've thought about buying one of those for the legs to make them adjustable. I don't know how well that'd work. Whether or not they would, there would be enough, whether or not that adjustability would stay, or whether or not the weight of the stand would push things down. But I have thought about that. So that's another idea. If you wanted to make something with adjustable legs, is to buy those extensions that are meant for repairing sprinkler pipe, and then you'd be able to slide it up and down to the length that you would want. So that's a couple of ideas of things that I have thought of about modifying this. I don't have need for that, so I am not. So I've never actually put that into practice. Anyway, you can use that for what it's worth. The Caffeinated Crafter, who is one of my new subscribers, she started watching my videos and started commenting on several of my old videos this past week. So welcome, Caffeinated Crafter. And she asked me a question about my winter sampler that I showed 2 weeks ago. She asked me what fabric I was using, and she says, the chart says to use 3 strands of floss, and she asked me if I use 3 strands of floss. So the chart, yes, it does say to use 3 strands of floss for cross stitches, and I think 1 for back stitching. But the chart is also recommends an Aida fabric for the fabric, and I think it recommends a 14 count Aida fabric, and I think on 14 count Aida that three strands of floss could make sense, because the fabric holes are a little bit bigger. But on 28 counts, my experience is that 3 strands of floss is just too bulky. I don't like the look of 3 strands of floss on 28 count. So on my design, I stitched with 2 strands for the cross stitch and 1 strand for the back stitch. I used 28 count tea-dyed Monaco, which is, I don't know if it's easily available anymore. It used to be sold at Michael's and Hobby Lobby, but I haven't seen it there for a while. But that's what I used, and I used 2 strands of floss. As a general rule, 28 count fabric stitching over 2, which is what I did, I will use 2 strands of floss. If I was stitching over 1, I would use 1 strand of floss. Otherwise, I think things get too bulky and kind of hard to work with. Shadow0123 asked me, when I think I will hang Let Freedom Ring again. So I have showed that before. I stitched that, I guess it's been a couple of years ago now. Let Freedom Ring, that is a design by Lila's Studio. It's a sampler that includes Independence Hall that's in Philadelphia. And last year I brought it out in May and kept it up until July, till the end of July, because those seem like the months that are more patriotic. That's my plan again. So in May, I am going to be replacing this with Let Freedom Ring, so you'll be able to see Let Freedom Ring again. And I just realized May is next week, so that should come out pretty soon. Marilli asked me. Marilli wants to stitch a Christmas design, and she asked me about what I would think would be a good fabric for a Christmas design that wasn't brown. She says she wants something that is bluish gray, and I actually have a couple of winter designs that I've stitched that use that kind of color. So I would suggest Dwarf from Picture This Plus, which is more blue. There's not a lot of gray in it, but it's a really nice blue. That's what I am using to stitch winter Quakers. And another blue-gray that would look really good for Christmas is Smoky Pearl by Zweigart. I know they do it in Belfast. I'm not sure if it's available in 28 count Cashel or not, but Smoky Pearl is a really nice blue-gray color that would look really good for Christmas designs. That's the color that I used for the winter garden, and it kind of evokes that gray, blue winter day that is really common. So those are two of my suggestions. Of course, it kind of depends on what colors are in your design, whether or not they would look good with those colors, but those are two colors that come to mind that would be good Christmas blue colors. And Ajel78 asked me if I keep, when I'm stitching it, when I put my project up after I've finished working on it, if I take it out of my frame or not. And no, I don't take it out of my frame because I don't want to have to load it again. But what I do is I don't like the idea of keeping my fabric under tension all that time when I'm not stitching on it. So I do make sure that I loosen my frame so that the fabric is loose. And I think that is a good practice. So I don't take it out of the frame, but I do loosen it so that it's not under tension all the time the entire time that it's in my frame. Okay? One other thing, I've been emailing Jean Lee of the Attic, and I asked her to kit up a sampler for me. And basically what happened is at the beginning of March, I went in and I bought this sampler. This is Ann Wilkinson, 1834. It's a design by Cross Stitch Antiques. And when I bought this design, she said to me, "This is my April sampler of the month." And she said, if you want the floss and the fabric for this, if you buy it next month, I will give you a 15% discount. And I thought, yeah, it's kind of hard to turn down a 15% discount. So I emailed her to make an order for the fabric and floss for this, and she worked with me to choose the fabric that I wanted to stitch this on. And she said, she also told me that they were allowing their local customers to come pick up again. And so I went and picked up my order this morning. And it was good to see them. I saw Jean and Carolyn and talked to them very briefly. But I have the fabric and the floss to stitch Ann Wilkinson. And the fabric that I chose, this is 46 count Confederate Gray by Weeks Dye Works. This is the Zweigart base. See, it has has the orange stripe right there in the selvage. 46 count Confederate gray, and it's the design is charted for a Versoix, but she converted it to 103 silks for me. So here are all the silks for the design as well. Look at these colors. I really like these colors, and I think they're really going to look great on this fabric. So this is a design that I'm looking forward to starting pretty soon. So that's what I picked up. Carolyn said, I look forward to seeing you stitch this on Instagram. So I think I'm gonna be starting this pretty soon. I'm pretty excited about it. There were a lot of samplers released at market that I really like, and I think I'm starting to be pushed more towards stitching some reproduction samplers. This would be my first reproduction, and I'm kind of excited to work on it. It will also be 46 count. I've never stitched on 46 count. The highest count I've stitched is 40. So it'll be interesting to see how I can do with 46 count. That's not all I got. I also got this. I really like this chart too. This is Teresa Kogut Newcastle bouquet. This is one of Teresa's designs. Really, she had a couple that just really spoke to me, and this was one of them. So I have Newcastle bouquet. I'm not planning on starting this right away, but I really like this one too. This is really pretty. I love the border, and the flowers. These flowers, I just love these flowers and the cardinals. So yeah, this in my future sometime I hope to be able to stitch this. So that's what else I did this morning as I picked that up. Okay. Do you want to talk about what I've been working on? It's been 2 weeks since I did a video. I didn't do a video last week because I decided I was going to finish the project I was working on, and I didn't want to show a video and say, oh yeah, I'm working on this, I'm going to keep working on this. So anyway, I have been working on, if you remember 2 weeks ago, I said that I was going to work on 4 Seasons, Primitive Quaker Year, which is a design by Modern Folk Embroidery. It was the 2018 stitch along that he did. It is still available on his website. You can purchase this either as a PDF or as a paper copy. You can still purchase this if you still want to stitch it. And I've had a lot of people ask me that. So just so you know, on Instagram, you can still stitch this. It's still available. And yes, I did finish it. I finished it last night. So I have another finish. 2 finishes in March. And this is actually the second finish of the year. So I'm going to show you my finished piece. I am stitching this on 35 count Classic Homespun, which is a fabric by R&R Reproductions. And the floss that I used to stitch this is Silks4U PR075, which is a really nice royal blue color, and it has tonal variation in it, so it kind of goes from dark to light. I don't know how well that is picked up by the camera, but in real life you can see the difference in shades. So this is my finish. So yeah, I am really happy with this. I didn't think I was going to be able to finish it last night. But I was working with this border, and I was working across this way, and I got over here last night, and I had one more triangle left to go, and it was getting close to bedtime, and I said, I'm just going to finish this. I can't stop. So I finished it last night. This has been, since I've been working on since I started working on this, You'll remember I worked on it for about 4 days while I was waiting for Floss for The Lord is My Shepherd. And so it almost feels like I stitched this entire autumn block during this time, because I worked on it and then I didn't work on it for a few days and then I came back to it. So I stitched all of this autumn block, this triangle down here, this triangle over here, and then I had the border stitched to about here, so I've stitched all of this border too. If you're stitching this, I didn't realize this until I got past this point, and then I realized, and then I was looking and realized I'd made a mistake. These two triangles in the middle are different from these triangles on the ends. And if you look closely, you can probably see that if I just mention it. You'll see that the stars in the middle are a stitch wider than the stars on the ends. And that also means that the diagonal goes up one more stitch on the ends also. The point is a stitch higher. So yeah, this is what I've been working on. And I have just, okay, I'm going to confess something. When I first started working on this up here, I was kind of like meh with it. I mean, I really liked it, but I wasn't enjoying stitching it. And I think part of the reason is I had to get used to the silk. I think this is the first project that I started with silk. So this was my first silk project, and I had to get used to working with it. And it just really didn't excite me when I was first stitching it. And then, of course, if you remember, I had the little mishap of cutting my fabric over here. And it almost felt like a relief, because I was kind of not really excited about stitching this. And then, of course, I had Melissa offered to repair this for me, and she repaired it. And I got back and I finished stitching spring, and yeah, I still wasn't all that interested. But this last half, I've like totally fallen in love with this, especially this autumn block. I don't know. I've just, the last part of this design is just really, I've really come to love this design, and I come to really enjoy stitching it. So this is now finished, and I'm kind of sad to see it go. I'm sad to not be working on it anymore. But I am so glad. Somebody on Instagram asked me, aren't you glad that you were able to have this repaired so that you can continue working on it? And yes, I am really glad. I am so glad that I was able to finish this. Give you a little bit more of a look. Yeah, no, I just love how this turned out. I love everything about it. So it has been a wonderful journey stitching this, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. So just a few statistics. I usually try to say this and I always forget, but I remembered to check, so I will tell you. I started this on April 14th, 2018. And I finished it last night, which is April 24th. So just over a month. I've been working on this, over a month. Just over 2 years it has taken me to stitch this. 774 days is what I think my spreadsheet said. Of those 774 days, I stitched on it 77 days. So if I had been stitching this straight through without taking a break, it would have taken me 2.5 months to stitch. And like I say, I'm just really love this, and I love how it's turned out. I am really happy with this finish. I'll give you a a little bit more. I can't stop looking at it, so I'll let you take a look, another look. So yeah, this is Modern Folk Embroidery, 4 Seasons, a primitive Quaker year. It is available on his website. I will put a link to it in the video below so that if you want to purchase this, you can purchase it and stitch it. So that is what I have been working on, and it has been a wonderful experience. Okay, so let's talk about what I'm going to do. You probably have noticed that I've kind of given up on stitching my rotation right now, and I am not going to start my rotation yet. I've been toying with the idea of actually participating in Mania this year, and I think I'm going to do it. I have Wilkinson, which I really want to start. Now that I have everything for it, I really want to start her. And I have another project that has started to want me to start it again that I'm going to talk about in just a sec. And I've made a list. I think I'm not going to do a start every day. I just can't do that. But I am considering doing a start every week in May, and that would be 5 starts, and I think I'm going to start this week because the 1st of May starts this week, so I'm getting a head start. And the past couple of days I have been really thinking about restarting this design. This is 101 Alphabets by Rosewood Manor. I think I'm going to start this again. As you remember, I started this, worked on it for a week, and then had a mishap with my fabric. I have new fabric, and this has started to call me. I really want to stitch this, and I'm excited to stitch all of these alphabets. So my plan is for this week I am going to start 101 alphabets. And then I think I'm going to do 4 starts for the remaining 4 weeks in May. And then we'll talk about my rotation later. That's a little bit crazy for me. Right now, not counting this, I'm down to 7 because I had 9 works in progress, and I've just had 2 finishes. So I'm 7 works in progress. If I start 5 things, that'll take me up to 12, which is a little bit crazy for me. But I have a lot of things that I want to start. Like I say, I made a list, and my list is longer than 5. So I'm going to have to decide which ones I want to start. That's why I'm not going to give you a list of what I'm going to start for May now. I might do it next week, depending on whether or not I can finalize things. But for this week, I am doing 101 alphabets. I don't have the fabric with me. It's upstairs, but I have some 40 count mallow linen that I think is going to work very well for this. And of course I have all of the floss, and I'm excited to start this. Yeah, I don't know. I think I maybe, I don't know. Right now, all of the, well, there's just nothing that I am actually stitching right now that is really calling to me. And I think that the whole being cooped up in my house has made it so I need a little bit of novelty. So this month, that's my plan, is I'm going to start 5 projects, and then I may or may not start my rotation. I do know that in June I am going to work on English Garden Sampler. I want to get some good progress on that and get close to finishing that. That is what I think is my next possible finish. And I think if I tell myself, okay, I'll say it, I'm not really excited about stitching on that right now, but I want to finish it. So I think if I give myself a month to say, okay, I'm going to start this week, I will be ready to start it then. And I don't know if I will stitch for a finish. We'll see how it goes. But I really want to finish that this year as well. So that is going to be one of the things that I'm going to concentrate on after May. But I'm preparing myself to do that. Anyway, so that is what I'm going to do. I am excited to start 101 alphabets. And I've seen people post their progress on Instagram, and I'm jealous, and I want to see this go. So that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, things have been going good. I'm working from home. Because I'm working from home, I don't hardly ever leave the house. My boss has been working remotely for years and years. He doesn't live in Arizona. And when we started working from home, one day he said, "So how does it feel to be working from home?" And I said, "Well, it's okay. I can do everything that I can do at work, I can do here, because I just spend all my days on the computer, and all I have to do is connect to my company's network and work." I said, "But I never leave the house." And he said, "Yep," because he works from home too. Like I say, he's been working remotely for years, and that's what he said. He said, "There are weeks when it feels like I haven't left the house," and that's kind of the way I feel. So anyway, we're dealing with it, and things are going okay. So anyway, thank you for spending time with me. That is all I have to show you and talk about. I hope that you have a great week. As always, if you want to follow my daily progress and see how I do with 101 alphabets, you can follow me on Instagram. My name on Instagram is @blitstitch. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, feel free to subscribe to my channel. Feel free to like this video if you want to. And I always enjoy hearing from you, and will be glad to answer any questions that you have. Just comment below. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I really appreciate it. And I hope that you have a great week and that you will be able to stay well. And we will talk to you later. Goodbye.